Hi everyone and welcome to this new live streaming. Hi Silvano, hi Shunsuke, hi Gerardo, hi Telmo. Nice to be here with you tonight, as always on Monday. And I would like immediately to begin. And just to begin, I would like to talk about our group. And I would like to remind you that, as always, we can go to our group, go to the file section, and here you can find these two PDF files that we are going to use today. This is the one with all the positions that I suggest to you to learn, and this other one is about something that I'm going to share with you today, and we are going immediately to learn some arpeggios today. So remember that you can study these arpeggios from these books that I wrote. So these are the positions that I'm going to show you for arpeggios. And today we work in two positions, starting from the 6th fret up to the 10th, and from the 7th fret to the 11th. And we do this in two positions because in both these positions we can find one only fingering for the C major scale. And I would like to remind you that we are always working on these 4 chords for the major turnaround workout, which are C major 7, A minor 7, D minor 7, and G7. So now I'm going to show you some positions for arpeggios, some new positions for arpeggios to learn. The first one is for C major 7, starting from the 7th fret, from the note B, which is the major 7th, and I play it for you, and you can find on the book intervals and the shape to learn. Okay, so I start from the B note, the major 7, and I play it for you. One more time. In the same way, in the same position, I play for you A minor 7th, starting from the 3rd, starting from C, 8th fret. And I play it for you. One more time. Then we play D minor 7th, starting from C, one more time. And because C is the minor 7th for D minor 7. One more time. And then I play for you G7, starting from the 3rd, from B, the 7th fret, from the 3rd, for G7. One more time. Well, these are the new positions to learn for arpeggios, but today I would like to share with you something very easy, as always, which are these basic chromatic approaches that we can play for each note of an arpeggio. Of course, we can use them also for a scale, but here we are working with arpeggios. So, as you can see, here we have the black note, which is a chromatic approach to the root. This is the C major 7th arpeggio, root, 3rd, 5th, and major 7th. And B is the chromatic approach from below to the root. Here in the second measure I do the same, but the arpeggio is in the first inversion and I play an approach to the 3rd. So D sharp is a chromatic approach from below to the major third. And here we have F sharp as a chromatic approach from below to the fifth. And as you can see, then I play the arpeggio as a second inversion. And then I play A sharp as a chromatic approach from below to the major seventh. And then I play the arpeggio as a third inversion. Well, here in this second line, I do the same, but I play the chromatic approaches from above. So this is the root position for C major 7, and I play D flat going down to C. So this is a chromatic approach from above. And then I do the same to the third, the same to the fifth, and the same to the major 7th. I would like to show you this on guitar. And of course you can do the same also for A minor 7, D minor 7 and G7 in the same way. So I look always for a chromatic approach from below or from above. Chromatic means that it's half step from that note, the target note, the note that I want to play. We say the harmonic note in this case that we are going to play. So if I play C major 7, this is the root, and the chromatic approach is B, which is also the major 7th in this case. But anyway, it remains a chromatic approach for C, and I play it. Then I do the same going to the third. Then I do the same going to the fifth, G. And I do the same to go to the major 7th, B. And of course I can go on doing the chromatic approach to the root one more time, to the third. And it's over, because in this position the notes that I can play for C major 7 arpeggio are ended, are finished. Okay. I do the same for A minor 7, so I can look for the A note, which is the root for A minor 7, and I play the chromatic approach. And I go up with the arpeggio. Then I can look for the third, which is C, and here below, here I have the C note, the third, and then I do the same to the fifth, E. Then I do the same to the minor 7th, root one more time, third, fifth, minor 7, but here I go out of the box. Okay, I do the same for D minor 7th. This is the minor 7th, so I am playing the approach, chromatic approach to the minor 7th, because it's the lowest note in the box. Approach to the root, approach to the third, approach to the fifth, approach to the minor 7th, to the root one more time, and to the third one more time. Then I do the same to G7 for G7, and I start from the approach to the third, which is the lowest note that I have in the G7 chord. So I play approach to the third, approach to the fifth, to the 7th, to the root, to the third, to the fifth, and to the 7th. Of course, now I was always playing only the approaches from below. I can do the same with the approaches from above. So for C major 7, for example, I can play C as an approach to B, which is the major 7th. Then D flat as an approach to C. F as an approach to E. A flat as an approach to G. Sorry. And so on for each chord. Okay. And of course I can do also something different that I didn't wrote in the PDF file, which is playing an approach to an higher note, and or and then so for each note each note of the arpeggio I can play an approach from below or from above, and I can also play the arpeggio with notes in different order after playing this chromatic approach. But of course chromatic approaches are very important in jazz, so the more we practice them, the better it become our improvisation, the more jazzy it will become. I would like to play for you a little example using this chromatic approaches. I will play just few notes. Of course, you don't need to play for each chord a chromatic approach and an arpeggio, but this is just an example, just to show you how it's possible to do this. Okay, so of course, when we play, we don't use for each chord always an arpeggio, but it's important to practice them for each chord in the same position, and then remember that you can do the same approach, have the same approach in each position as always, as I always say. Okay, so these are the basic chromatic approach. We can call it also simple chromatic approach, from below or from above. And for now I suggest to you to practice it just connected to arpeggios, so that you can work with inversions, and be careful in listening how it sounds. Okay, when you do the chromatic approach to the root, when you do the chromatic approach to the third or to the seventh or to the fifth. Okay, so this is very important. And after this I would like to talk about modes, just to show you something different but connected with what we did last episode. Last episode I was talking about playing root, third, and one note in between, and then third, fifth, and one note in between, fifth and seventh, and one note in between, so that we can find out 6 little phrases that we can use on each chord for this progression, and they are root, second and third, or third, second and root, third, fourth and fifth, or fifth, fourth and third, and so on. Today we are going to add one note more to this. As you can see here, this is an example. I remind you that you can find this PDF file into the Facebook group. And here we are just having some examples for the C major 7 Ionian, which is the mode that we have on the C major 7 chord. And here I play root, major second, major third, and then I add one more note, the fifth. Okay, so remember, I don't play the fourth, but I play the fifth, so that I have a third between the third note and the fourth note in this group. Okay, so I have C, D, E, and G. And then I do the same starting from the third, and I play third, fourth, fifth, and then another third from the fifth to the major seventh. And I do the same starting from the fifth. so that I play 5th, major 6th, major 7th, and 9th. Okay. Of course, I can do the same. I can have the same approach on A minor 7, and I will play A, B, C, and E, always as root for A, major 9th for B, minor 3rd, C, and perfect 5th, E. Then I do the same starting from the flat 3rd, minor 3rd, up to the 5th, and then I go to the minor 7th, and from the 5th up to the minor 7th, and then I go to the 9th. Okay, so here we are using the 2nd as a passing tone, and here we are using the 9th as an extension for this chord. Okay, so these are two different rules for the same note. In here we have a passing tone, diatonic passing tone. In here we have a extension, so one note in the harmony, one note a little bit more away from the root. Okay, we go up root, 3rd, 5th, and then we go to the 9th, 7th, and then we go to the 9th. And we do the same approach for each mode, always with the correct degrees, the correct intervals that we can play on each mode. Okay, so this is very important, and here we can find some new phrases that we can use on each mode. Of course, we can play them starting from the root or starting from the 5th going down, so they are two phrases. But we can also change the order sometime in these phrases, but just always thinking to these little phrases made with using just 4 notes. Okay, so this is the approach. I would like to show it on guitar. As always, I start from each root and I play for each chord the lick. So I start from C and I play root, major 2nd, 3rd, and 5th. I can play it one octave higher. Then I do the same on the 6th degree, so starting from A for A minor, root, major 2nd, minor 3rd, and perfect 5th. And I can't play it in other octaves. I can play it, a part of it, but the E note is out of the box. Then I can do it on D minor 7th, D minor 7 one more time, G 7th, and then I can start from the 3rd. So I go to C major 7th one more time and I play 3rd, 4th, 5th, and major 7th for C major 7th. Then I go to A minor 7 and I start from the 3rd, which is C. Or then I go to D minor 7 starting from the 3rd. And then I go to G7 starting from the 3rd. And of course I can do the same starting from the 5th and starting from the 7th. So the approach is always the same, and it really helps in knowing how to use modes in a more concrete way, you know, because using modes means a lot of things, but at the end we have to use something, some tools for each mode. And during all of these episodes I showed you some of these approaches that we can have to play modes, to play arpeggios. And now I try to have a little improvisation for you, just playing some of these little licks, little phrases. It's just an example. Of course, we have to practice this the more than we can in each position and being able to play them as fast as we can. But we don't need to play them on each chord. Okay, so these are just ideas that I would like to give you. And the last idea that I would like to give you is always about chords, drop two voicings. During all of these lessons, we learned all of the true drop two voicings within the central set of strings or 4 strings. Now we're learning the drop two voicings in the 4 highest strings. And the first one that I would like to show you today is C major 7. Sorry if I forgot one really basic but important passage in this, because of course these are the positions for modes, very important to learn today, and I would like to show them to you. So these are the positions, and of course within our fingering we play, this is the scale, and as always I suggest to you to play each mode starting from the root. So I play C Ionian, Ionian, 1 octave higher, then I go to A Aeolian, then I go to D Dorian, 1 octave higher, and I play G Mixolydian. And this is very important to know before starting playing those licks that I showed you before. Okay, so it's important to play the mode first and then ask yourself to play these little licks around the modes. Okay, so during all of this lesson we talked about how to use arpeggios, how to apply some little techniques, and how to know modes and how to apply little techniques to modes too. So as you can see, now we are going from one chordal view, just tones from the chord, to one scalar view, but using anyway always chordal tones as really important tones to play the scale. So we are not forgetting, we don't forget about chords. This is very important because all of the notes that we use, the 9th, the 11th and the 13th, are always notes in relationship with the chord, so always in relationship with the arpeggio and so on. And this is very important to know and very important to practice. Of course, we need time, but we can do this work very well if we just practice for a while each day. This is very important. So, going on, I would like to share with you some drop two voicings for this progression. And to do this, remember that you can always use this book. These are the positions that I'm going to show you now, right now. And as I told you, these positions are on the 4 highest strings of my guitar, of your guitar. And I play C major 7 with B as the lowest note, so it is a third inversion for C major 7, third inversion. Then I go to A minor 7, the lowest note is C, which is the minor third, so this is a first inversion for A minor 7. Then I play D minor 7, the lowest note is always C, so this is a third inversion for D minor 7. And then we go to G7, B is the lowest note, So this is a first inversion for G7. So C major 7 one more time, third inversion, A minor 7, first inversion, D minor 7, third inversion, and G7, first inversion, and we go back to C major 7. Okay, so all of these positions are really important, and I would like to remind you that one of the most important things is always to sing the notes that we have in each chord, and try to sing always the melodies that you are going to create when you play these chords. For in this case, for example, the highest note in the C major 7th chord, the highest note is the root, which is C. Then when I go to A minor 7, the highest note is E, which is the perfect fifth for A minor 7. Then we go to D minor 7, and the root is one more time the highest note, and then we go to G7, and the fifth is the highest note. The melody that I create is, and I can listen to it. This is very important. While the second voice, the melody that I play on the B string, is the second voice, because remember that the first voice is always the highest one. And then we go down counting all of the voices that we have in a chord. So the first voice is, in this case, C. The second voice is G. And the melody that I play on this string is like this. In fact, I play. Then I go to, and I play. And so on. So this seems to be something very easy, but it is very important always to look for this connection between chords, and that help us in creating melodies from one chord to the other. Okay, so it's very important, but we can also use our help our ears in studying this while we listen to this. Okay, so this is very important. And these are the four things that I wanted to share today. How okay, I'm reading just your chat. Yes, this is Band in a Box, Rodrigo, but it's not Band in a Box 2020, it's 2019. Okay, and I use a quite basic version, not the full version. It's very expensive as a software for the backing tracks. Okay, do you have some questions, friends, just to ask? Do you want to ask something? As always, I go to my mobile phone to look at the chat, and please ask me something or tell something. How is it going with your practice in this? Are you getting better? Are you learning more things and practicing this stuff? All good. Thank you, Telmo. Thank you for your feedback. And I was thinking about doing something different in the near future. I was thinking about playing some jam sessions together. Do you like this kind of idea? We can choose some basic standards maybe, and I can play chords for you and improvise Of course, I can't listen to you, but if you want, you can play together with me. It would be nice maybe for you. I don't know. If you want, it could be a good idea to create maybe one jam session a month, or maybe every 15 days, I don't know, and play some tunes together. Do you play tunes? Do you have some tunes under your fingers, for example, Telmo? Do you play some tunes by heart? Did you study some tunes that you can play? This is very important. For example, to my students at school, I usually ask to learn 60 tunes during 3 years. And then when we go to the biennio... blues, Telmo. That's a good, very, very, very good starting point, playing the blues. Yeah. And not much. Okay, so I suggest you to try to learn some basic tunes. For example, I spent a lot of time when I was a student practicing just something like 5 tunes, not practicing 1 million tunes, just 5 tunes, but trying to learn them very well. So I started from the blues in F, and then I played All the Things You Are, Autumn Leaves, Stella by Starlight, which are tunes that I always play with my students also now. And I tried to learn them in a deep way, so learning all of the arpeggios like we do with this major turnaround workout, and then trying to harmonize the melody in a basic way. And then every time that I play these tunes, I try to play them in a little different way. It's not easy, of course, but I try to do that always in a different way. I'm not... can you make a standard list that you think it's important? I can share the standard list that I have for my students. Why not? I will post it here. Do you like There Will Never Be Another You? Yeah, it's a nice tune. Maybe I can play it for you now if you want. It's one of those tunes that I learned when I was a student, one of the first ones that I learned when I was a student here in Gorizia. Then I went to Trieste to study at the Conservatoire. And yeah, There Will Never Be Another You is a really nice tune. So we can work on it. We can work on a lot of these things. So I have this idea about a jam session that we can play together. For example, if we choose some tunes, we can play them together. And then I have an idea about practicing. So maybe sometimes I will connect in a random way without an appointment, just to practice in front of the webcam, to give you some ideas on how I practice scales and arpeggios. And you will see that I usually practice a lot of the things that I suggested you during these episodes. And then, of course, I play tunes when I practice, and a lot of times I write tunes also to practice, because also that is very important to learn a lot about music. So practicing writing music is very, very nice. And it is something that I suggest you to try to do also within this progression. No? We always can think that we have material to learn, something to understand in a deep way, and to do that, write some melodies and write some little arrangements with some drop two voicings maybe, and write them on a copybook is very important. For example, if I play the C major chord with the major 7 on top, we learned this in an episode, and then I ask myself, okay, now I would like to go to this A minor 7th, which is the 6th degree. How can I go from this to this? And I look for a melody to connect these two chords, which is not something that have always to have a system. We can of course, now I'm just playing around, but you can find for something that you really like, and it can become a tune. And so on. Now it's just an improvisation. Of course, it's not something that I think and I write and I try to repeat more times. This is very important also. When you write something on a copybook, for example, you can repeat this more and more times. While when you improvise, you usually do always different things. I suggest you to write something, because in this way you can repeat it. And if you repeat it, you start learning it in a deep way, and you can sing the melody. Good exercise also to visualize all the inversions. Yes, Telmo, that's a good way to visualize all the inversions that you can have. And it's a good way to start having something around them, you know, because when you play, usually you don't play the inversions like I'm showing them to you. You usually play them creating something around them. But how can you reach the level to be able to play something around them? Of course, you can try to play very slow with the backing track and improvise something in between, but you can also write something. So this is the point. This is very easy as a concept, but very important. So remember, and if you don't know how to write music, I can easily say that it's very easy, because if you don't write music on a copybook, it's not so difficult to learn. We have just few notes, and yeah, maybe we can spend 5 minutes a day, just 5 minutes one of these days, just to talk about how to write music on music stuff, if you don't know how to do that, okay? Which is pretty important, I think. I don't think that reading music is so important in jazz. Of course, it could be important if you want to become a professional musician, and it is important if you want to learn faster, because you can read a lot of different improvisations or melodies, but anyway, you can learn a lot of improvisations or melodies also by your ears, just learning them from the CDs. And you can learn how to improvise also without being a very good reader. But if you learn to read and to write music, I think that it helps a lot in having something to repeat, having something to read one more time, you know, or to write and so on. And it is also, this is my personal experience, it is very nice, a nice experience to write music and to have your own copybook with all of your songs, for example, is very, very nice at the end. And if you can, for example, something I really suggest is write a melody, then record it with a recorder, so that you have the melody on your copybook and you have also this file that you can listen to. So you give a number to the song, and you have a number in the title of the file, and sometimes you go back to your old files and you listen to a song, an old song, or old melody just, or maybe old exercise, because you can also write some exercises to practice. So having a copybook for this kind of different topics, I think, could be very useful, very important. Okay, so this is something that I suggest to do. Okay, Telmo, thank you for all your feedbacks. Do someone else have got something to write in the chat? Don't be shy, please. Here we are here just to talk. It's not so formal as a moment for us, so we can really spend our time talking and also having different ideas. I don't know. So if you have anything to say, to write, please do it. It would be nice to talk about this. So, there will never be another you. Luca asks, how would you organize a study? Do you mean, Luca, how do I organize my method to study? This is the question that you. How would you organize a study session with the material we have been practicing with you? Okay. The first step that I suggest to you is go to each episode and write on a copybook the suggestions that I give in each episode, so that you can have a list of these topics. From the first episode, I suggested to practice inversions, and this is a topic. In the second one, I suggest, for example, to look for common tones, and this is another topic to practice. And so that you have on a copybook all of these different topics to think about. Then, of course, you have to find a way, and I don't know how much time do you have to practice this during your day, usually. But I think that if, for example, if you could practice 15 minutes each topic, it means 45 minutes, for example, which is not a lot. If you have 45 minutes and you practice each day 15 minutes for each part of this, so 15 minutes to study arpeggios, 15 minutes to practice modes in all of these different ways that I suggested during the episodes, and 15 minutes just to practice drop two voicings, inversions, I think it's enough if you go on for maybe a month or two to start really learning and understanding how this stuff works. And maybe then you can spend 15 minutes playing using some of these tools, because you can practice 15 minutes, for example, arpeggios, just to look for connection without playing, just looking for connections. Then you spend 15 minutes playing modes, just connection and notes, and so the same with drop voicings. And at the end, use a backing track like this, and you just practice playing using arpeggios maybe in the beginning, because you want to become good with arpeggios, okay? And then you go to modes and you look for these passing tones between arpeggio tones, and doing this you spend an hour each day, and it's enough, I think, if you do it for a long period to learn all of these things. And I chose to use the major turnaround for this reason, because if we start playing the rhythm changes, or if we start playing the blues, we have more chords, and it becomes more difficult to have all of them under our fingers, and it becomes more difficult to be able to improvise using them in different positions. While starting with just 4 chords, it's possible to do this. It's not difficult. Of course, you can play also other tunes during your daily routine, but practice a little on this progression could help. So this is there will never be another you, and I play it for you, and then I will say goodbye to you for today. I hope, as always, that I can help you in some way and give you some ideas always. And of course, music is sometimes looks so difficult, but it's not so difficult. It's important to have fun while you do it. So all of these ideas that I give you are really little ideas, basic ideas. And of course, the main topic is learn arpeggios, learn modes. So these are the main topics, but these little tools that I give you are something that help you to learn them in a better way, in a deeper way. Shipped from which country? Rakoto Malala, sorry for my pronunciation of your name, asks me, please, books are shipped from which country? They are shipped for a lot of different countries. I'm not sure about, I don't know from which one in particular, but I know that Lulu send books from a lot of different countries. So I suggest you to watch into the website and try to understand where. It is to know if I have to pay the tax on arrival. I live in France. Thanks. I think that they send from France too. I don't know if you have to pay any more tax, but I don't think so, because usually when I buy them for me, I pay through the website and that's it. I just wait for them to arrive. So I don't think that you have to pay more taxes. I'm not sure about this because, as you know, I just create the books and I upload them, and then Lulu does all of the work. So I'm not connected to Lulu. I just upload the videos, of course, and they sell and they send them. But I think that you can buy everywhere around the world, because I've seen that they really send them everywhere. Telmo says that he lives in Portugal. So Telmo didn't pay taxes, so maybe you don't need to pay taxes in France. Okay, I play something for you, dear friends, and only books and shipment. Okay, Telmo, you have the books? Do you have the books now? Can you study from them? You received them. Yes, okay, I'm happy about that. Okay, I play for you. Just an improvisation over There Will Never Be Another You. Okay guys, thank you for watching and love the solo, but really enjoy the comping. Please teach that. Thank you, Telmo. Yeah, I'm trying to teach them. It's starting from drop voicings. So of course we need to have more tools than to do more things, but we need to start from the basic tools to go up. So thank you for watching guys, and see you next week, and always hope to help you with your guitar and to give some energies, and stay safe, stay at home in this period, and see you next week. Bye bye. Ciao, 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 ciao.